So I'm going to do today's collective reading for the weekly tarot reading. And I feel like I've got a lot of loss that I'm looking at here. And then I've got new beginnings. So this is kind of, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world and we're dealing with losses. But I've got the Five of Water. So I do feel that some of you that may be reading my collective reading may have even encountered a death or some kind of loss in some way. We may be mourning a loss. So I know not all of you may be going through that. Maybe it's not necessarily a death, but you might have had a relationship that is broken up, some kind of ending. But I can especially see some kind of ending with the Five of Water. But one of the messages with the Five of Water is, I feel this mourning and this loss, but then inevitably an upside will come, and especially to know that Spirit is with you during this time. But some of you may have experienced something like that. Obviously, we're dealing with COVID. Some of you may have lost a loved one to COVID. That could be a reason why I am getting a message like that. I'm getting a little bit of that in my reading for the weekly tarot reading, so I'll address that. Another reason I feel that there is some kind of loss, as some of you are experiencing, is because I have the Three of Air. So the Three of Air especially is that heartache with the three swords in the heart. So this is a difficult time. We're really, in the world and everything. We are kind of in the thick of everything at the moment. Dealing with the pandemic, and death is just, I've met with certain people who even got COVID and they kind of feel like they were touched by death. So this is a very challenging time for them as well. And I do have in the present to immediate future position the Eight of Fire. This has been my COVID card because it's a very swift moving card. So COVID, that's what it does. It's very swift. And, the wands normally angle like this, but inevitably, it's going to slow down. But, with our leaders and so forth, everybody in such a rush to open up. Let's get to phase 1. Let's get to phase 2. Let's open this, that. Let's let people go to bars. Let them go to the beaches. All these various things are hurting us because, things are still rising. But some, states are getting better. Oh, no, it is going up. We've got to do something. They're getting a little bit better. But we definitely, some of you also may be dealing with a betrayal. It's like a lot of things. If you looked at my read on the shadow and the collective, we can be dealing with all kinds of stuff coming to surface. Some of you that are watching this may have felt like someone has betrayed you in some way, that something has come out and you may have dealt with some kind of betrayal. And that may be one of the reasons why you're feeling this loss and you're in mourning. So definitely while you are going through this, sometimes we got to cut ties with people, especially if they have betrayed us. And maybe we shouldn't necessarily give chances for something like that. Now, the top card, and this is really for all of us, even me, is the ego card. So everything has been coming to surface. I talked about that in my last read. But especially during this time, we all got to kind of check our ego. And one of the things, like it says, a false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things, negative or fear-based thoughts. So, and one of the things especially with ego, is to have a lot of fear during this time. Many people are afraid because they're unsure about the future. And notice, a lot of people are visiting psychics and so forth because they are unclear about the future. And what is the upside, though? We do still have an upside. The one good thing is I have a couple of aces showing. I've got the Ace of Water and I've got the Ace of Earth. Those people who feel like they may have been betrayed, because I get this kind of feel that at least somebody that I'm going to read for has dealt with some kind of betrayal. It may be in a relationship and so forth, or it could even be with family as I'm branching out collectively. We will have new love. I do have that for those in relationships. I've got the Ace of Cups. So inevitably the new love will come. Now, certain people that may be worried about financially, about getting a job and so forth, if you're one of those, I do have the Ace of Earth. So I do feel new beginnings definitely coming out in career and so forth. Now, one of the things I do have going on during this time is I've got also the Queen of Air. So some of the ladies that may be watching this right now, try to get head above heart during this time, especially if you are one of those who experienced a betrayal. We got to really get the head above heart during this time and get our equilibrium and so forth and get our strength. But one of the end cards is the Hermit. So some of you maybe need to go within during this self-isolation. Many of you are still in it and in the thick of it. I'm going to draw another card for that and get ready. But during this time, while you're in self-isolation, work on the spiritual growth, because that's especially what the Hermit does. Work on the spiritual growth. Work on the healing during this time. I know it's a real challenge with certain things. Some of you may have lost loved ones. Some of you, your relationships may have broke down during this time. And it is very challenging. But all these things also, we still work on our spiritual growth. And we are going to work on our heart, as the Three of Swords is the crossing card. But inevitably for all of you, I do also have the Chariot. So we do have to grab the reins inevitably and kind of take control of our situations to the best of our ability. I feel like drawing an oracle card. This oracle card asks questions. So some of you can look at this. How can I surrender even more in this moment? So I know we're dealing with a certain sense of powerlessness during this time. If it's our relationships breaking down, if we have suffered a loss, if a loved one has passed, we can feel very helpless during this time. If you are one of those people who lost their job that is looking for a new one, the Ace of Pentacles is for you, that will happen. But sometimes, we can only control so much, but how can I surrender in this moment? And Spirit does really ask us to surrender. That is one of the things that they do. Let Spirit take the reins, so forth. Once you let Spirit take the reins, then you can ride the Chariot. That's one of the things. Before Arjuna rode the Chariot in the Bhagavad Gita, one of the things is Krishna was right there by his side. So one of the things is, before you ride your Chariot, you got to get Spirit by your side, right? That's one of the messages. I know this has been a challenging time for everyone. We are in a new world. It is a challenging, and it's a world we do not want to be in. But I do not want you to lose faith, and I do not want you to lose hope. Spirit is the one who ultimately is in charge of everything. Our governments are not as in control as Spirit. Let's just put it that way. We need to understand that. But hang in there, light ones. Hang in there, awakened ones. We will all get through this together. I hope you enjoy my read.